Come on now, Houston, all the way from Dallas, Texas. Let's go, guys. Let's show them some love.
Oh, snap. Y'all make me just so happy over here on Clubhouse. Okay, wow. Breakfast with Champions going hard. And, it's Winning Wednesday. So let me do this favor real quick. I need everybody to unmute your mic, okay? I need you to unmute your mic, and I need you to give me a big old yay, yay for Renee. Let's go. Yay, yay. Yay, 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 Man, she's out here just dropping the mic, crushing it, and raising the energy level, which I like. You know what I'm saying? Just raising the frequency up on here. So we're live right now on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the platforms. We're live on Clubhouse. So what I'd love to do is give some shout outs before we get started. For those of you that are in the room, I see Angeline Moore. Of course, we got Renee. She was dropping the mic just a minute ago. We got Tash in the house. We got Cash. What's up? Good to see you. I like your name, a Cash. You know what I'm talking about? Cash? Cash flow? I like that. A cash flow. We got Tash. Also rhymes with cash. Okay, I like that. We got Richmond. Good to see you. Good to see you all for being here. But let me do something real quick. I want to reset the room. And while I do this, okay, I'm going to reset this room. But what I want you to do right now, I want you to go ahead and share it out because I got a legend. Okay, I got a legend with me here today in the house. I'm going to bring him up here in just a moment. Okay, but before we do that, I need you to share. Sharing is caring. We don't play around here. This is a support group. We're all here just, living life together, supporting each other, encouraging each other. And what else we're doing? Sharing the freaking room. Okay, let's get this thing blowing up. Let's rock. Let's roll. Let's go. Cash flow. Well, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Trevor Houston, and this is Breakfast with Champions, the Millionaire Breakfast Club. And this is your opportunity to get a seat at the table with those going the places you can go and doing the things you can do. Now, we don't see this clubhouse divider with a stage on top and an audience down below. No. Instead, we look at this as the world's largest breakfast table. It's full of motivation, education, inspiration, and even a friendly competition with the positive intention of pushing your momentum in the right direction. Now, listen, if you ever miss a segment, you can go download the Breakfast with Champions podcast, subscribe to listen anytime. So head on over to bwcdaily.com. Grab the link to subscribe to the podcast. All right. Now, if that didn't jack you up all on Mountain Dew, okay. All right. My guest will here in just a moment. I'm going to bring him up. Okay. So for those of you that are in the chat right now, actually, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell me, rate that intro right now. Scale of 1 to 10. Was that fire or what? Okay. Rate that intro 1 to 10 in the chat. I'd love to hear it. And I got some goodies for y'all. I always like to give like Santa Claus. You know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing stuff out there. You know what I'm saying? I might throw some cash flow. You never know what I'm going to do up in Breakfast with Champions. But today I got some stuff for y'all. If you look at the link above, you'll see I've got some giveaways. Okay, you click on that link. It's going to take you to a couple of things. Number one, we got my free LinkedIn optimization ebook. Okay, this ebook is going to show you how to transform your profile into a landing page. So if you're on LinkedIn, okay, I want you to put LinkedIn in the chat. Love to hear from you. LinkedIn in the chat. Okay, if you're on LinkedIn, I want to show you how to turn that thing into a landing page to convert the eyeballs that land on it into cash flow, careers and cash flow. That's what we want to do. We want to turn those eyeballs into careers and cash flow. So I want you to go ahead, and it's a free download. Okay. It's an ebook. You're going to go ahead and download that and put it to work, put it to action. Okay. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. Second thing, if you're looking to transition or level up your career, right? Maybe you are in a career transition right now. You're like, dang, I'm out of cash flow. It stopped. I don't have anything coming in right now. I need to turn that thing back on. I need the ATM turned back on. If that's you, if you're in the career search right now, maybe you're struggling with ghosting, employers are not talking to you, not hearing anything back. You're getting those canned emails, all that kind of stuff. I want you to come through my Career Transition Summit, where I'm going to show you how to rehumanize the job search, put the human element back in, and close the freaking deal, because that's what it's about. You got to close the deal to get back to your cash flow. Can't be the runner up. Okay. So we got to close the deal. I want to show you how to do that in my Career Transition Summit. And then last but not least is the podcast. Okay. The Who You Know Show. All right. We just, last week, we just interviewed Elena Cardone, talking about some serious world changing stuff. Okay. Talking about how to put an end to this child sex trafficking stuff like that. You know, we get into real deep stuff. Okay. We get into deep stuff. And today I'm super excited because today's episode, okay, I got an all-star for you today. Okay. If y'all are ready for all-star, let me put all-star in the chat. Let me hear from you. Put all-star in the chat. Okay. All right. If you want to know how to make some more green, we're going to talk about green today. Some greenbacks. We're going to talk about how to maintain that green, how to keep it fresh. Okay. So today on this episode, we've got the privilege of hosting Bryan Clayton. And Bryan Clayton, he's a seasoned entrepreneur and the CEO of GreenPal. Now, what is GreenPal? GreenPal is an innovative platform connecting homeowners with lawn care professionals. Okay. I call it kind of like the Uber of lawn care. Okay. This guy's, he's changing the game up. Okay. So Bryan's journey from startup to nationwide success, you heard it, nationwide. Okay. It's filled with a bunch of valuable insights, guys, on entrepreneurship, business scaling, and creating a customer-centric culture. So, Bryan, I'm super excited to have you here with us, man. Welcome to the show.
Trevor, it's great to be here. I'm excited, man. I'm amped up after that intro.
You like that? You like that?
Yeah,
Got y'all jacked up on Mountain Dew. All right. So my first question for you, Bryan, I'm excited you're here because, first of all, I want you to tell the audience a little bit about GreenPal. You know, I kind of look at it like the Uber of lawn care, right? You know, which I think using technology today to help you to make things a little bit more convenient and make your life easier is definitely a cool thing. So can you tell us a little bit about the start of your journey, okay? And then, you know, from being an entrepreneur to co-founding GreenPal, and then also what inspired you to create this innovative platform, because it is different. Tell me a little bit about your journey there.
Yeah. So GreenPal is the Uber for lawn care. It works like Instacart or DoorDash or Postmates, but for lawn care services. So if you're a homeowner or you rent a house and you need to get a grass cutting service, if your grass is 4 feet tall outside, rather than calling around on Craigslist or Facebook, you just download GreenPal, pop your address in, and somebody comes and takes care of it for you. GreenPal is a 10-year overnight success. Started out in Nashville, Tennessee, where
whoa, hold on. You can't just go skip right past that. A 10-year overnight success, guys. That's a mic drop. Hold up. If you didn't catch that, all right, a 10-year overnight success. Tell me about that 10-year journey.
Yeah, totally. So it took about 4 or 5 years to make the damn thing work, to make it to where you pushed a button, you got quotes, you could read reviews, you could hire somebody, the service provider would show up and do a good job, and the whole thing worked seamlessly end to end. It literally took 3 or 4 years just in Nashville, Tennessee, experimenting, going through all the 100 things that can go wrong in that flow from end to end and fixing them one at a time until we could figure out a way to scale it into every city in the United States. And it took a long time, and we celebrated really small wins along the way. Our first goal was just 100 customers. We just wanted 100 people to use it and didn't worry about anything else. And that took like 2 years. And when we got that 100 customers, we celebrated it like it was 1 million. We partied like it was 1999.
Let's go.
Because when it was 100, I knew I could get it to 1,000. If I could get to 1,000, I could get it to 10,000 and 100,000. So today, 300,000 people use it every day to get lawn mowing done, and we want to get it to 1 million people. And so it's still day one, but it's taken us 10 years to kind of get to the starting block almost.
Man, that's crazy. Okay, so I got a couple things I want to comment on. First of all, the resilience, right? And we'll dive in more into that here in just a moment. The resilience, right? To push past. I mean, it sounds like it took you just 2 to 3 years just to even get the thing to work, right? Yeah. Like I can only imagine the amount of cash flow you're burning through, you know,
totally.
Just burning through it, right? And not even knowing if this thing's gonna work or not, like with the stress. Okay, let's dive into that actually before I go anywhere else. Let's dive into that. What kind of financial burden did that put you on in the first? Did you have investors? Was this self-funded? Like, talk to me about that. And then as you're burning through all that cash flow, how did that make you feel?
I really, really like the practical questions you're asking, because these are practical questions every entrepreneur must ask themselves when they're getting started. How am I going to get through the first 2 or 3 years? Because I'm not going to be making a lot of money. How am I going to sustain myself? How am I going to support myself through this? You can go and raise investor capital, and that really, I never really wanted to do that. I guess I was lucky that we started the business in Nashville, because there's not a whole lot of investor capital flowing around Nashville, Tennessee. It's a very shallow pool. And so that was about 3 conversations, and they all said no. And so I thought, well, this sucks. This sucks. I hate running around from coffee shop to coffee shop begging for $10,000 checks. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to focus on building this product, and I'm going to focus on a handful of customers, and I'm just going to get the damn thing to work. And I'm going to make a little bit of money, and then I'm going to put that money back to work. And I'm just going to do that until it snowballs, until it compounds into something big. And I don't have time to go from investor pitch meeting to pitch meeting and build something that investors love. I want to build something that customers love. And so that was the decision that my 2 co-founders and I made early on, that we were just going to bootstrap the thing. But what did that mean? It meant that we couldn't pay ourselves a salary for the first 3 years. And that this thing, it was a cash sponge in the first couple of years. It took a lot of money to get the first prototype out the door. And so I invested some of my own money. My co-founders invested their money. This was liquidated 401ks, credit card checks, things like that. So very much like,
man, y'all, hey, listen, I gotta say, y'all believe in it. That's what it takes. Belief, right? It takes belief. I mean, you get out there liquidating your 401k, cashing it in, taking the penalties and the taxes and all the woo-wee. You know what I'm saying? That's belief, though. That's like, I'm all in. I like that. That.
I think you do have to have that kind of burn the boats moment where
burn the boat. Let's go.
Yeah. There's an ancient fable where this general landed his troops onto the shore, and the boats in the harbor, he set them on fire. And so the troops looked back at the boats on fire, and they knew that they had to be victorious or else they were going to die. And I think if you can have that kind of crucible moment in your business journey, where like success is the only option, I can't go backwards, there is no retreat, it can help you be motivated to do the things you have to do. Necessity really is the mother of invention, and that's how it was for us in the early days. We the only way to go was forward, and we couldn't go backwards because we didn't have an alternative. And so we had to make this thing work. And it meant nights and weekends. My 2 co-founders still work their full-time jobs.
Nights and weekends. Hold on. I have to capture it. Okay. Hold on. When you say something like that, nights and weekends. Okay. How many people out there, they got these dreams and they got this mission and they got this purpose and something that they want to go do, but they're just not willing to put the work in. I mean, to get the rocket ship off the ground, listen, it's going to take a lot of energy, and you're going to burn up a lot of fuel to get that thing off the ground. Okay. And so you got to really put it in. And then once it gets up there, okay, that rocket ship just kind of goes but man, that thing's heavy, and it takes a lot to get it off the ground. Okay. So I don't think a lot of people out there, they want it all, but they're not willing to put in that sweat equity, those nights and weekends and things like that. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, for me, it was, I had made a decision that no matter what, from the day I started the business, from that day forward, no matter what, I was going to be working on my best idea. And that was it. So by default, I was pouring my soul into my best idea. And I guess luckily I'm not terribly creative. I've had one good idea in a decade, and that was it. This was my best idea. I didn't have this bright, shiny object syndrome where I was like, oh, I should go do this, I should go do that, because I didn't have those ideas. This was my only idea. I poured everything I had into it. And so that kind of took care of should I go in on a Saturday? Should I go in on a Sunday? Kind of conversations you have in your head. It's like, no, you're grinding on your best idea. And there was just so much work to do, because you're doing 3 things at once when you're starting a business. You're working in the business.
Yep.
You're fulfilling customer orders, answering customer calls. You're making sure that what you're doing works. You're working on the business. What's my strategy? What's my sales strategy? What's my top of the funnel traffic system look like? What does my customer service system look like? You're working on the business. And the third thing, you're working on yourself. What classes am I taking? What conferences am I going to? What skills do I need? In the early days, I learned I had to become a decent copywriter. So I took every course I could on copywriting, and then I realized, hey, I'm gonna have to learn how to build software. I can't be in the tech business and not know how to write code. So I had to teach myself how to code, and so it was a 7-day-a-week thing. Very much, not a lot of nights and weekends working on myself, learning the skills I needed to learn. And I think if you're doing this with like all of your heart and soul, that you will evolve into a whole new person every year or two. You'll look back at where you were 2 years ago, and you're unrecognizable. You may watch a movie. This has happened to me a few times where I'll watch a movie that I watched 5 years ago, and it just hits differently. I don't see it the same way. I don't look at it the same way. I don't find it as entertaining because I'm not at the same level I was that I saw it the first time. Or you'll read a book and it's just you'll understand different things about it because you're evolving into a whole new person.
I love that. So I want to touch on that real quick. So that evolution side of being an entrepreneur, I describe it like this, okay, because I'm a little bit of a nerd, okay, and when I was young, I played a lot of Zelda, okay, so if anybody out there played
Throwback.
Zelda, throwback, you know what I'm saying? In Zelda, you start the game. Well, actually, you're Link, right? Link. Zelda's the princess. But, anyway, so Link is out there and he starts the game and he doesn't have anything. He has no sword, no shield, no armor, no magic, nothing. And there's monsters out there trying to kill him. Okay. Right. That's what it's like being an entrepreneur when you first start. Right. You got nothing. You don't know what you're doing. You're lost. Okay. And you're like trying to find the sword, and you finally get a sword, then you get a shield, then you get the magic, and then by the time you get to the end of this game, you're a boss killer. Like you're out there slaying dragons, you know what I mean? And so the journey that you're talking about as an entrepreneur, when you first start those first 2-3 years where you're like, man, you're burning through cash, probably stressed out. Did that put a lot of stress on you and your family and stuff like that going through that when you were in those first, maybe 2-3 years?
Absolutely. Every entrepreneur has had this conversation in their head where it's like, I haven't seen my family all week. I don't have any friends anymore. I'm broke. My wife hates me. What am I doing?
Does she still hate you? Does she still hate you?
No, that's all good.
There we go. Yeah. When you start bringing in some of those greenbacks, okay, you know what I'm saying? Look, the conversation changes a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
Money fixes all of your money problems. That's for sure. And so, but it really, to your point, Trevor, it is a video game. You focus on one level at a time. You throw all of your intensity to get from one level to the next, and you don't worry about anything else. So the problem is most people are on level 1 and they're worried about Bowser. And they're thinking about Bowser related problems, and they're really just on Waterworld or whatever the first level was called. And or they're on level 1, and they think they're on level 4. And so they're doing level 4 stuff. They're trying to fire up a crazy Facebook ad campaign, when they don't have 5 customers. And it's like you're on level 1. You need 10 customers, 10 credit card numbers, 10 people that you're going to connect with the value you're bringing to the world. And let's figure that out. Let's figure out how to get that going on a very small stage. And then let's throw up the flag at the end of level 1, and then let's start level 2, maybe 10 to 100 and so on. And you literally don't worry about anything else but getting through one level at a time. And at the end of every level, there's a new boss.
Let's go. Let's go. Listen, mic drop. Here's what I want to say on that. So for all of the career changers that are out there. Oh, and I think we got a hot mic over there on Clubhouse. If I can get a muted the mic, please. So for all the career changers that are out there, I want you to take note of what he just said too. It's the same thing. Entrepreneurship and being in career transition is very, very similar. Okay. you're out there and you got to do all of these things, and you're trying to, get your resume up done, and you're trying to get your LinkedIn profile optimized, and you're out there networking, you're trying to connect with people, and you're applying online, you're doing all these things, and all the pressure is there, right? Well, listen, you got to tackle one thing at a time. You can't do it all at the same time, right? You got to tackle one thing at a time, one level at a time. So whether that's your LinkedIn is today, you're going to figure out how to get that done. Your resume is tomorrow. You focus on your things, you practice interviews, like things like that. You got to do it in stages. Don't try to tackle it all at once, because you'll get overwhelmed. You'll get stressed out, and then you'll quit. You'll give up on yourself. I got a guy I'm talking to right now. He's all stressed out. He's like, I did 3,500 applications and nothing. I'm like, problem. Like, after the first, 500 applications, you kept going and you saw that it wasn't working, and you just kept doing the same strategy over and over and over and thought it was going to work at 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and it's not working. You got to change. Anyway, so I'm telling them, it's your strategy that's not working. You need to change that up, But anyways, I'm kind of getting off on a little bit of a rant here. I want to also talk to you about scaling business to the point now where you're a nationwide platform. Okay. What were some of the key steps and strategies that you put in place to scale? And what are some of the challenges, or maybe some of the things you would have done differently?
Yeah, it's so when every business goes through three kind of phases. You go through the startup, the grow up, and then the scale up. And the startup is, do I have an idea that will work, that people will pay for? Maybe I've got 40 or 50 people using whatever it is I've built and brought into the world, and they're using it, and they're continuing to use it. It's not just they tried it and then they left. They're using it, and they're getting value from it. Oh, and it's okay. I got that figured out. Okay, now I'm going in the grow up, and the grow up phase is, how do I turn this idea that's working into an actual business? Money's coming in. I'm wearing the hat of a capital allocator as the founder, and so money's coming in. I'm putting money back out to work, and I'm building an actual business around me, and it's profitable, and it's actually working. And then after that, you go into the scale up phase. That is, okay, let's move quick. Maybe we raise some investor capital because we need some rocket fuel, and we know that we bring $1,000 in, we can turn it into 10,000, and we have a proven system on how to do that. You almost have a money printing machine at the scale up phase, and the only thing that's missing is capital. And you can bring capital in, and you can put money back out to work. And that's the tricky part. And that's kind of the phase where GreenPal is now. We're 300,000 people using it, want to get to 1 million people using it. And now we've got to start moving quicker. We got to start moving faster. And so how do we bring on the key people to help us do that? And at the scale up phase, bringing it all the way back to one of my favorite books is the E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And one of the things he talks about in that book is building out an org chart of what your business looks like. And in the early days, the entire org chart is your name on everything. So you got
it's you.
Yeah, you. It's you. It's a big pyramid, and it's you. It's like you're the founder, you're the CEO, and then you're head of marketing, you're head of customer service, head of R&D, head of accounting, head of bookkeeping, head of social media marketing, and it keeps on going. And it's like your name on all this stuff. And then as time goes on, you can then identify, okay, what are the key roles that I want to either get a freelancer to do, or a subcontractor, or an employee. And then you peel off your name off these roles, and you assign them, and you delegate them to specialists that can work on them, focus on them full time. And as you scale up, the top of that pyramid, because it will have less of your names on it, and you've got a really good VP of growth, and that VP of growth has got SEO experience or something like that. You've got a really good VP of product, and they've worked and built on big products before. And so as you're scaling up, you're putting in these lieutenants that are really good at specific parts of the business that you were kind of doing in your spare time. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I wear about 5 different hats. I'm in charge of growth. I'm in charge of product. I'm in charge of strategy. I'm in charge of finance. And as we scale, I will get people that are really good at those specific things to handle them for me. And so it goes back to that book, The E-Myth, really basic book about a lady building a bakery. But these fundamentals and tenets of business, go all the way up to if you're building a $100 million business.
I so agree with that. I love that. I do have another quick question for you because I want to make sure that the audience fully understands, okay, what GreenPal is. Okay, I want to make sure they fully understand this tool. And so can you describe it? Because is this a subscription-based platform where they get, they can connect with different providers that are out there, different lawn care providers? Or tell us a little bit more about is and how it works.
Yeah, so the use case is if you're a homeowner or you rent a house and you've got 3-foot tall grass outside because your last lawn guy ghosted you. And that's usually what happens. There's this weird case of the disappearing lawn guy. He does good for a season or 2 or maybe 4 or 5 mowings, and then he just drops off the face of the earth. And so then you ask friends and family for recommendations. You might leave a couple voicemails or text messages, and maybe 1 or 2 might show up or not. And then you're kind of going through this like never-ending hassle of trying to get somebody to take care of this chore for you. Well, you hear about GreenPal or you find GreenPal through a Google search. You just sign up. Then you get 5 quotes from lawn care services nearby you in your neighborhood that you can then look at their offers, and they compete over your business. You can compare their price against ratings that other people have said about them. So how often do they show up on time? How often do they get booked for a 2nd or 3rd lawn mowing? What star level rating do they have? And then you can look at pictures of their past work and say, okay, I want to work with Joe's Lawn Care, or I want to work with Trevor's Landscapes, or whatever. And then you hire them. They come out and do it. And if you like how they did the first time, you can then set it up for the whole season. So you can use it. You can try it for a mowing. It's not like you have to sign up for a subscription, but if you liked how they did, you can just set it and forget it. So it's kind of both.
This is like
as a service
Upwork.
provider,
It's like Upwork
right.
for lawn care, right? Upwork, you go and you just hire a freelance lawn care provider. You know what? And you get to see their ratings and stuff like that. Do they also get to rate you? Kind of like, how
yes,
it goes ways. They get to rate you if you're kind of a crappy person, like if you're a jerk to work with, like you didn't pay him on time or something,
So the couple pieces there. So the payment piece is one of the big value propositions we bring to vendors, to lawn care pros, because the lawn guy is the last person to get paid in the stack of household bills. In fact, that's one of the hardest parts about running a lawn business, is that it's like you got to do the work, and then you got to do the work again to get paid for the damn work you did. And so we handle that for lawn care services. We capture the credit card, and then they get paid within 24 hours. So that's a big piece of it that just gets handled. And so for lawn pros, it's an entire like operating system, and it's an entire platform for them to just plug into, and they don't have to worry about, how am I going to get new customers? How am I going to keep all this organized? What's the most efficient way to go through town to go to all these different lawns? And then getting paid within 24 hours, and then getting rebooked, and then getting booked for additional services that are higher margin, like shrubs, mulch, gutters, snow plowing if you're up north, things like that. So it's really like a business in a box for lawn care services. It's taken us a decade to build out all those tools, but that's what we built.
Okay, so now you've got place. I'm curious, okay, because you're 10 years into this thing, right? 10 years?
That's right.
Okay. Now, I'm curious if you have any ambition or drive to expand past lawn care, because I'm envisioning, just let me tell you my vision. I'm envisioning this app for a home. You got all kinds of things you need. I need a pool cleaner. right? I need somebody to do, it's kind of almost right. Thumbtack is similar in a way, but I need a pool cleaner. I need somebody to do maybe cabinets or tile or whatever it is, flooring, you know, projects and different things that you need. And so to maybe take it above that, where it's similar to what you're talking about, a rating system. Hey, you can rate them. You can see what your neighbors are doing, blah, 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 blah. The payment goes through the app. No, is it an app or is it a website? How does that work?
Yeah, so we have both an app and a website. And to your point, yeah, you're right. Thumbtack, Angie's List, Home Advisor, these are really good, what they call horizontal platforms. And so these are really good places where you can get names and numbers for painters,
Mm-hmm.
roofers, pool cleaners, you name it. But that's kind of where it ends. You can get names and phone numbers and maybe read some reviews, but then the scheduling and the payment and then the
Right.
automation are still left to you as the consumer and the service pro to kind of figure out. So they kind of get you half the way there in terms of
Sure.
introduction, but everything else kind of is the old way. And
Right.
so GreenPal is end to end. You get quotes, you schedule, you pay, and then you book them for the whole season end to end.
I
And
love that.
and what we have found is that it's really hard to build that kind of Amazon-like, Uber-like
Mm,
experience if you're trying to do too many things at once. And
mm.
we've made a decision to just focus on this one use case. How do we make
Hey,
lawn care quicker, faster, cheaper, smoother, more reliable, and not
then
not get distracted with any other
the
search rivals?
riches are in the niches, man. So, as I'm saying this, I'm just speaking like, because I think, my brain goes different places. Okay. But I love that. The riches are in the niches, or the green, okay, is in the green. In the yeah. Yeah, the green's in the
if you
green.
if you if
In
you
the
want to
grass. The
dine
green's in
with
the
the
grass.
classes, if you want to dine with the classes, sell to the masses.
Yeah, and then cut their grasses. I love it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about technology real quick, okay? So, leveraging tech, right? Obviously, we live in a world now, like you were mentioning when you first got started being a copywriter, doing all these other tasks that now you got things like AI that can take a lot of that off your plate. In today's digital world, technology plays such a crucial role in business growth. How have you utilized and technology to improve your efficiency at GreenPal and to also wider audience? How are you getting client acquisition?
Yeah, it's in many ways it's easier to start a business than it's ever been. I remember when I was building my first company in 1999, if I wanted to learn how to do stuff like this, I had to buy cassette tapes, and
Mm.
and they were expensive. I spent $1,000 in 1999 money and buy some cassette tapes. Now
Yeah,
you can go
Grant
to YouTube
Cardone, man,
University and
selling
learn.
Grant Cardone selling those books and tapes and all them DVDs, thousands of dollars, man. That stuff's expensive.
Exactly. Exactly. And look how far we've come where you can learn any of this stuff for free on YouTube. So it's like in many ways technology has made it easier to start a business and easier to
Mm,
succeed in a business. And so you always have to look at what are the things I'm doing on a daily basis to get where I'm trying to go, and then where can I leverage technology to make them easier. And when I actually had a landscaping company, that's what gave me the idea to start GreenPal. And when I was building my landscaping company, I was doing it the hard way, a lot of pen and pad, a lot of just emails and voicemails and text messages, and all this stuff could have been automated. And when I
mm,
started GreenPal, I started noticing all of these ways I could have used technology to make my former life a lot easier. And so if you would really take the time to sit there and say, okay, I'm doing these repetitive tasks on a daily basis. How can I leverage technology to automate them or make them run smoother? Instead of like getting stuck on, what kind of blog post I'm going to write, just go to Chat GPT and say, give me an idea for 10 blog post ideas on how to promote my new podcast. And that'll at least get you over the cold start problem. I'm not saying use Chat GPT to write that content piece, but it can at least get you over that cold start. And it can help you eliminate a lot of repetitive tasks that you've been like either not doing, which is worse than anything, or doing yourself and wasting time doing it. So if you can look at like what are the things I'm either stuck on, or what are the things that I'm doing over and over and over again that I can leverage a piece of software to help me automate away, to keep the momentum going and to move faster, I think can help you compete with the big guys. You're going to have to
Ooh.
start, even though we may not compete with Amazon directly, everybody's kind of competing with Amazon because
Mm.
Amazon is conditioning consumers for magic to occur, like running water. Like I order a box of toothpicks and it shows up an hour later on my doorstep. So we're
Yeah.
all kind of competing with that Amazon-like experience, and you better figure out ways to use technology to close the gap between where you're at and where these big guys are, or else you'll never get the traction.
Drop, man. I got to tell you, because I'm always looking for that in my business. I'm always looking for different ways to make it more efficient, and to give them. I tell people all the time, I'm trying to give people the Amazon experience of financial services. Doesn't have to be this long, drawn out process that's like painful. Okay. The hump of somebody actually, lowering their pride down a little bit and telling you that they need some help. Get over that hump, then let's make it efficient and easy, and let's just streamline it, and that's what I try to do with my business. Awesome. I love what you're talking about there. So I know you talk a lot about building a positive company culture, right? Talk to me about, how do we build a healthy culture as you're scaling? Because a lot of times that's difficulty, right? You're bringing on new people, you got new employees, all this kind of stuff. It can be hard in the very beginning, especially if you're not like me. I'm having to learn leadership, right? And that was not a thing. If you're used to doing things solo, and then all of a sudden you're bringing on people, and then it's like, oh wait a minute, I also have to be a leader. I got to lead people. So talk to me about how you create culture and how you have made an impact within your organization.
Yeah, Trevor, I've done this wrong every way you can do it wrong. Nobody teaches us how to be a leader. We're not
Mm-mm.
taught how to be a leader anywhere in high school or college. Maybe if you go to the military, but even then, a lot of times that style doesn't port into the civilian world, and so it's one of those things that you have to be proactive, and you have to develop your leadership style intentionally. You have to seek out materials, whether it be John Maxwell was a early mentor of mine. Passively, I read every book that he ever wrote on how to develop my leadership style. And I think as a founder, you have to come to grips with, you get exactly the company culture you deserve. You get
Mm.
exactly the enthusiasm of the business that you deserve,
Ugh.
because it's a reflection of you.
Yeah.
And this happened to me in my first business. I had built that company to around 100 people, and I was driving into the office one day, and I had this kind of pit knot in my stomach. I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go to the office. A lot of the people that worked for me didn't like me, and I didn't like them, and our customers were always complaining, and equipment was always breaking down, and there was all kinds of just like problems in the business. And I thought, man, this sucks. Why is it like this? And why is this happening? And what can I do? And then like a voice in my said, you idiot, you built this. This is a reflection of you.
Oh,
This is a reflection of who you are. And I had to like
man.
change myself. I had to change myself, that my enthusiasm had dropped for the business,
Mm.
and my my level of energy had dropped, and I had to change that first with myself, and
Oof.
then begin to rebuild the culture from the inside out. So that's the truth that a lot of founders don't see, don't want to see. I know I tried to like not see it for 5 years, but the reality is you get exactly the culture you deserve as a founder.
Ooh. Mic drop again. Let me just tell you something. That's called accountability. Okay, accountability, because oftentimes, especially when things aren't where you want them, like you said, the business wasn't doing what you wanted it to do, and you point fingers, right? Like you want to, that's
Right.
playing victim, and you just want to say, oh, it's because of these employees, or it's because of, or this happened. And some of there might be some truth to that, right? There may be some truth to external, but at the end of the day, like you said, you're building the business. It's your business. Take
Yeah.
accountability. If you have a crappy employee who's just a pain in the butt, well, guess whose fault that is? Yours. You hired them,
You hired
right?
them.
So you hired them. So guess what? Maybe you need to fire them. Maybe you need to coach. Take it upon yourself to say, you know what? I'm not leading this person in the right way. So it's just about looking at what you do to improve things. Take accountability. I love that. It's so, so important. And I think we live in a culture where people just don't want to take accountability. We live in this camp. We want to point the finger at other people and throw stones, like, look at this person, they're doing this or they're doing that. We want to point fingers and blame and just hate on people. It's just so much hate. And instead, it's like, what? All those people out there throwing stones, I want to tell you something. Listen, you know what? You're throwing stones with your own life. So take accountability, okay? Because trust me, if you were happy with your own life, you ain't got time to throw stones. Okay, you don't got no time for that. I ain't got no time to hate on other people. I have no time to hate on other people. I just don't. Why? Because I'm doing my own thing and I'm building my own thing, and you know what? I'm happy with that. But everybody out, cancel culture, all this crap, they're miserable. These are miserable people, and you know what I'm saying? They need to take accountability for why they're miserable. It will set them free. But right now, they're held captive, and conversation I'd love to dive deeper into, but let's move on from that. Let's talk about, you mentioned earlier about continuously learning, right? How do you stay open to new ideas, embrace change, and continue learning to stay ahead of the competitive business world? Because listen, again, we talk, and you're like a software, you're a tool with an infrastructure behind it. What keeps ahead of the curve from the next guy coming in and innovation taking you out, the curve?
Yeah, it's great question. Touching on your last point, I agree with everything you're saying. And one of my favorite quotes is 50 Cent. He says, "You'll never be hated on by somebody doing better than you." And so we have to remind ourselves of that we can't let people try to hold us back, because they're never doing better than us. To your point, the people doing better than us are all busy doing other things.
Yeah, they're on the sidelines. They're on the sidelines, okay, while you're in the game playing,
That's right.
right? That's what's going on. And then
Yeah,
they want to
exactly.
act like they could coach. Wait a minute, you've never played a game in your life, but you want to coach me? I'm in the game playing.
Yeah.
Oh, and you want to coach me? No. That's not the way it works. Like, you haven't even done practice yet. You don't know what it's like to be in the game. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll just throw that in there. But yeah, how do you stay abreast to new changes in the marketplace and new innovation, new ways of doing things? One of my favorite quotes by Jeff Bezos is, he says the thing I love the most about the customer is that they are always discontent. That today's new innovation is yesterday's old news. And I think he's right, that like, you always have to be making your product better, quicker, faster, smoother. And ways that I always try to figure out, okay, how do we make this better, is I use other products and try to get inspiration. So I signed up as a dog walker on Rover and Wag. and walk dogs on those platforms for like 3 months. And I would take screenshots of every screen that they had on the platform to figure out, okay, how are they making walking a dog as smooth as ordering an Uber, and how can I learn from that in lawn care? Or I delivered groceries on Instacart. I delivered food on DoorDash. I drove for Uber. I rented out a spare bedroom on Airbnb. I would use every single one of these marketplaces, and I would take screenshots of the screens. I would take screenshots of the emails they wrote and the push notifications they sent as like free R&D to figure out, this is how they're engaging customers. This is how they're speaking to their customers. This is how they're keeping their customers in the funnel. And man, I learned so much from doing that for free. In fact, I got paid to do that, and then I applied it to my world of lawn care. And so that's one way I've been able to learn from these companies that have billions of dollars of venture capital and apply it to my little world of lawn mowing.
Wow, I love that, because I'm kind of a copycat. Okay, like I just am. Okay, because it's not really copycat. I own it. Okay, because here's the deal, like you got to look at the best. You got to look at the best. Who's got what you want? They've paved the way. Okay, they've paved the way, and so who's got what you want? And I love that. And so, and how can you mimic or replicate or adapt, even make it your own, even make it better? How can you take what they've done and make it better, more efficient? What do you video? Actually, it was on I think it was on TikTok actually, and it was actually very interesting. It was talking about AI. Which one? Because there's a million different tools out there, but they were talking about, hey, here's Q, and she has this $50 million business doing X, Y, and Z. And we're gonna steal it. We're gonna copy it. Okay. And basically they took her web and then put it inside of some AI tool, and it copied the code and like basically just swiped it. And then all they got to do is go and kind of change things out. But like the flow, the workflow, some of the automation, and like all of the coding that went in the behind the scenes, it basically just copied that. I don't know. Again, but it just seemed like, what? That's even possible? You could just copy somebody's, electronic infrastructure, their technology like that? Do you know anything about?
It's possible, and maybe we'll get to who knows what 2 or 3 years looks like with how fast things are moving. And the thing is, it's like, have you ever had a conversation with somebody and they're like, I have this new idea for a business, but I don't want to tell you about it because I think you're going to steal my idea. And you're just like, dude, I don't have time. Yeah, I don't have time to like take your idea and run with it. I promise you that I'm not going to steal your idea. Like, and I promise you, however good you think your idea is not like one of these things that's just going to like blow up overnight. And so it's like, you can tell me and get my feedback, or not tell me, I don't care. And it's like, the idea is worth about $20. And so the same is to be said for like copying somebody else's website and trying to steal it and make it as your own. I mean, most of the time, that is not the value that that business is bringing to the marketplace. There's something else that you don't see. There's some structural competitive advantage that they have that you can't just copy. That you can steal the what, but you can't steal the why. And there's something you're not seeing. And so I wouldn't worry too much about that, I guess is my short answer. It's like,
that's good.
You can steal the what all day long. And it's kind of funny, like when AI was first getting rolling, like everybody was all worried about, a new song by Kanye that AI made, and like, how much traction did that stuff really get? Are we bopping our heads to Drake's new AI song? No, we're not.
That we know.
That's yeah.
That we know. We might be.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true, but not
Yeah.
yet. Not yet. And so
Oh,
as
check this
of
out.
today, you
I saw something else where they literally completely they had some AI tool. Check this out, and they uploaded. It's all about the input you give the AI, right? So
right.
this tool they input South Park, right? Which there's like 1,000 or something characters. Is a lot, right? South Park. So they input all the characters, and then they had to input all of the audio tracks for all of these characters. Then they had to input all of the profiles, like what they're like and what their temperament is and all that kind of stuff, the character profiles for each character. And then they inputted scenes like the school, and the different different backgrounds and different, put it a bunch of those. And so it was all this input, and so it took a lot in the front, but then this storyline, like, hey, I want this storyline, and then it would spit out a freaking episode, like
Incredible.
Incredible, right? Like, imagine that. And anyway, it kind of blew my mind that they're creating entire episodes.
Take that and figure out ways of how to put that into your business. It's like, okay, how do I use AI to get me into the 20-yard line, and then I take it the rest, and so that way you don't have to waste all this time on all this block and tackling and grunt work. AI can do that piece, and then you bring the talent to the last mile, to the last piece of it, to make it exceptional. I think that's the future. I think that's the future of a lot of things, and in the future of a lot of content creation. It is AI is abstracting away 80% of the grunt work that nobody likes to do anyways, to be honest. Nobody likes to illustrate Cartman for the 1 millionth time walking through a scene. Like, AI can handle that. But the really like nuanced, like funny comedic pieces of the show, the writers can see that through. I think that's the future.
Absolutely. All right, so I got one more thing I want to tell you before we rock and roll with this episode, okay? So when I was growing up with my mom and stuff like that, we were very, very poor. We didn't have a whole lot of cash flow. Sometimes we didn't have, food or water or lights. We didn't have a lawnmower, okay? And I remember our lawn getting like super high, okay? And then we would only do anything about it if the city was like, gonna fine us or whatever. Because the city says, hey, if it gets above a certain level, anyway, so my mom would be like panicking or whatever, and then she'd borrow a lawnmower from somebody and we'd get a lawnmower. And I'm out there mowing this lawn that's like 5 feet tall. I don't know. It seemed like 5 feet. It's probably more like 3.5, 4 feet tall. Okay. And you had to take the lawnmower. You couldn't just go over it. Okay. You had to, because the grass. Okay. So you had to take the lawnmower like this. Okay. You had to push it down and like take the lawnmower like this to cut the grass. Okay. And then it would get all filled up with this grass and tangled up. Okay. You had to like try to get all that grass out of there. Okay. And then go do it again. And it took, and I live in Texas. Okay. Texas heat. Okay. I'm out there pushing this mower. I hated doing the frick. Let me just put it to you this way. I don't mow my own grass today. Okay. Just because of the kid. And so I appreciate what you do. I thought I would share that story. My mom could have used your service back then, my friend.
Oh man, that story is the use case of so many people that use GreenPal. Literally, we hear hey, I got a fine from the city. I can't get anybody to take care of this. Will you send somebody to take care of it? And we love coming to the rescue in those situations, and then getting people on a smooth schedule where they don't find themselves in that situation again. So yeah, any single moms out there listening that have 3 foot tall grass, go to greenpal.com and get hooked up with a great service provider.
Absolutely. All y'all single moms out there with the push mower, come on now. Okay, it's hot out there. Okay, it's too hot. Okay, cut your grass, get it looking crispy, good, and yeah, go to greenpal.com.
That's right, greenpal.com.
Man, Bryan, I really appreciate you being here with us today. Any last words for the audience or somebody, let's say they're trying to start up a business and, they're trying to get out there and live out their dream. What would be a few last words you would tell that person?
Yeah, for me, looking back 22 years of building two companies, I have been able to do things, become things, and see things in life that I never would have been able to do had I not started my own business. I'm not a particularly talented person or bright person. I'm an average person that just decided to focus on one thing and spend a decade doing it. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. And so I guess my parting words would be get in the game, because only when you're in the game can you win.
Woo! Let's go. Bryan Clayton in the house, dropping mics. He says you got to commit and get in the game. Let's rock. Let's roll. Let's go. Cash flow. Bryan being with us today. We really, really do appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you, Trevor. I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We'll talk